You are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Mick, Alex, I Yield to No One,
Steve,
and Sid.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trophy Horse. This is episode 425. I'm your host, Tricky Mick. Alongside with me, the man, the myth, the legend. He's Alex.
Man, I feel like I'm the only person on this podcast that's probably going to work tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm still injured. Otherwise, I'd be at work. He brings the awesome. It's I Yield to No One.
I will do my best not to make any pirate jokes.
Yeah, they were a little excessive last week.
Did you get complaints about the number of pirate jokes? Because Homer went to overdrive on the Facebook page with all the pirate memes.
I did not get any complaints, but I did complain. Only because of the fact that I don't think, like, I know you guys are giving me a hard time, and I know that it was all good-natured and whatnot, but legit off the side, I am petrified that I'm never going to get my sight back. And you guys making those jokes, like, I know it was all in good fun, but it was just digging in me. It's like, oh, God, please let me get my eyesight back. So, all right. And we have a guest this week. I don't know how to describe him other than he is an ex-bot converted into a trophy whore. His name is CoolKidJoe.
I also have to go to work this week, so you're not alone.
Okay, sorry. I know that here in Kentucky they just closed all non-essential retail, include finally the fucking malls after they closed PT clinics. But I don't know. Sorry for making the assumption, but I feel like everyone is cracking because everyone is quarantined, whereas I work at a grocery store, so it's like, hey, I'm going to work and getting hazard pay.
No,
Are you actually getting hazard pay?
We're getting
I work in
$2
food,
extra
so-
through April per hour. I would consider that hazard pay under the circumstances.
Yeah, unfortunately, if I did have to go to work, I would not get hazard pay because I'm considered a first responder. That's part of my job.
Yeah, they did just lock everything down here, though. Tomorrow is non-essential retail, all closing.
I get to collect unemployment.
What's that like?
You get to sit at home and the government pays you.
Yeah, but you're not getting paid nearly as much as you would.
No.
It's better than sitting at home and having the government not cut you a check.
Well, Trump gets his way. We're all going to get $2,000 a month.
Wait, no. I heard the stimulus package,
Wow.
like every adult gets 1,000, and then for every kid it's 500. That's not per month, though, is it?
I thought it was per month.
No, I just think it's a one-off.
Philip Rivers is going to be rolling around in his government check.
Like he needs it.
Yeah, I was, like, off subject. I was just listening to Spotify because I listen to Eddie Griffin comedy. His new special, he said he has 11 kids.
Yeah, he does. It's wild. There's all these memes going around of him, like, no more crowds of 10, and it's him and his wife and his, like, 11 kids.
Yeah.
That dude's
All
going
right,
to be
so
broke.
Well, he, in one of his specials, he goes, he got, at the time, he said he has 9 kids, 4 or 5 baby mamas. He says his first of the month calls are a bitch.
I imagine it's like a water slide now. They just pop out.
He was like, I do movies just to pay them. All right, so let's get into our updated trophy count. I am level 55, total trophies of 12,966, with a plat count of 238. Alex?
Level 31, total trophy count of 6,926, with a platinum count of 103 platinums and 102 games.
Yield?
You know, I did show up today. I'm a level 28 with a trophy count of 6013 and a platinum count of 95.
And Sid is level 40 with a total trophy count of 9,558 with 171 plats. And Joe?
I just hit level 50 this week with a trophy count of 7,456 and a plat count of 264.
All right, so listeners, why? I'm going to ask Joe a question. Why is that impressive, Joe? When did you start getting trophies?
So in October, I was a level 17.
Good God.
You like that?
That's hardcore.
At least for one episode, Tricky can't crow about having the most platinums.
Well,
He's got more platinums and less trophies. So that's a completionist there.
Yeah, he doesn't have much of the crap that you have, Tricky. All the bronzes.
I have so much crap.
He has a lot of crap. You think I was bad with the trophies? You should look at his list.
Oh, it's bad. I'm just spamming my way to level 100.
Do you? All right. So you got to ask questions. Do you have Hannah Montana?
No.
That's one. What about Terminator Salvation?
No.
There's 2.
Ooh, that's 2. And how many visual novels have you done? Roughly. I don't need the exact number.
Maybe like 15, 20?
So that's impressive. Because I have like 100 visual novels.
So we can subtract 100 platinums from Tricky's total.
Yeah. And I still have more than you.
That's fine. I'm over here playing games I want to play.
Uh-huh. All right, so, Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself for our listeners.
So, February last year, I hit 1 million gamer score on Xbox, and then I promptly burnt myself out doing it, because I put up like 200,000 gamer score in like a calendar year, which is a lot. And I work full-time also, so I work about 50 hours a week, so I would come home and just like game and game and game and game, and then I hit that, and then I did it with a cool like special Design Labs controller. I'll actually show you guys when we're done recording this, and it has a really cool plaque too that I got from Geek Made Designs that holds it, and I kind of just like relaxed for a couple months, and then like I had some easy trophy games or whatever that I bought from like Humble Bundle, and that I got on sale, like, and I just like kind of started. I played one in like June, and I'm like, oh, I have this, let me do it or whatever. And then, I don't know. My buddy's brother like brags about like how good of a trophy hunter he is or whatever, and like I could never pass him, and that's kind of what motivated me to do it. And I think he's a level 41, so I passed him a month ago.
And did he make any comment about you passing him?
Yeah, he told me to play real games.
Oh, that sounds a lot like Alex and Yield.
Yeah, he told me to play real games or whatever, and that I could never do what he does, and I could never match up to the trophy hunter that he is, even though like all the games that he played, I played on Xbox.
That sounds eerily familiar to what I hear from Alex and Yield.
Well,
every week.
no, because he just said he played all those games on Xbox, so he has done those games and then have gone on to something else. You're still trying to do it.
The story changes every week.
But we said you're fine doing what you do. Alex and I are going the more traditional, non-chumpy route. But you're going that way. You live it. That's fine.
I'm not chumping. I'm legit playing the games.
Here's the thing, Tricky. No matter how many platinums you have
when
earned,
you play the game once on the Vita and then turn around and resave it on the Sony or on the 4 and not play it, that's chumping.
No, that is chumping, but I've never done that. The only person on this show that's ever done that is Alex.
So you've earned.
First of all, it was unintentional.
Yeah,
it was unintentional.
Wait.
Okay, here. This is.
I didn't say it was intentional. I'm just saying the only person that's ever on this show that has ever played a game on one console, uploaded a save, and popped the trophies on another console. The only person doing it on the show is
and
Alex.
I acknowledge
and that's
that
why
every
he says 100.
episode because it was Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time, and you make fun of me for acknowledging it, and now you're trying to call me out for it. No,
I'm
it's
not
the only
calling you
way
out
you
for
can
it. I'm
play
just
that
saying
game.
I've
You can
never
switch
done it.
between the handheld and the console. It's the only way you can do crossplay with that game is that you earn the trophies in both. So there's no way around it.
Question.
Answer.
Yes, sir.
Does that still work?
Yes.
Okay, because I know for Sound Shapes it stopped working, and I had to buy all the DLC. I did Sound Shapes like a really, really long time ago, like years ago, and that kind of that's what kind of got me up to 17 so quickly, like back in the day. And then I did all the versions, and then I went to go sync it, and now it's just no. And then I had to buy all the DLC for all regions of the game.
Are you sure? Because I
no,
it's
a discontinued feature. It doesn't work anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
I know somebody did a couple months ago.
Tricky, you wanted to call me out earlier. I'll say this: Sound Shapes is a game I platinumed, and then I bought it 2 more times for the Trophy War, just to earn extra trophies. But I never copied that platinum save file over into the cloud, so I don't have the platinum in the Vita and maybe the PS4
and
version.
PS3.
I can't remember if I have the platinum in the PS3 or the PS4. I didn't do that shit for that game.
You have it for the 4. You do not have it for the 3.
Okay, well, I bought it for 2 other. I guess it must have been the Vita and the 3, and didn't change my save file over to get the platinums in that, which I could have done.
Well, I thought if you bought it once, you got all the versions.
No, because it's different regions. If you buy it once, you get the PS4, PS3, and Vita versions. It's cross-buy, but it has a Europe stack and a Japan stack and an Asia stack.
Oh no,
and...
these guys don't worry about stacks. I was just talking about the North American.
Oh yeah,
they that's what Yield was giving me crap about, is because I bought Daggerhood in all the regions, and got the platinum 6 times.
Which one?
Daggerhood.
Oh, Daggerhood is fun.
That's what I say.
All 10 minutes of it?
All right, so let's get into what we're playing. Yield, we'll start with you, sir.
Let's see here. Played some Broforce, some Rocket League, World of Warship Legends, jumped back into Strange Brigade and was going through the DLC pack, and that may have been it.
I didn't hear any Rock Band.
I didn't play any Rock Band yet.
Okay.
Doesn't end till Tuesday. I do my work on Tuesday.
Alex, what are you playing?
Well, I've been watching Ashley play a lot of Animal Crossing, but I myself mostly been finishing up the Oxide Time Trials and Crash Team Racing, which I have completed. The Gas Moxie Grand Prix ends today. It is, of course, the final Grand Prix for Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. And today I finished off the Oxide Time Trials by beating Oxide on every single track in the game, getting my special decal, my special Oxide decal. Big fucking flex for me. And Tricky, you want to throw shade at me and Yield for playing certain games and not going, running and plowing through games just to get platinums. I feel like me beating the Oxide Time Trials when I felt 6 months ago I could never do that gives me more satisfaction than all of the games you played over this great...
I gave you credit for getting that platinum, sir.
Yeah, and the bonus time trials with Oxide are even fucking harder than the regular ones. But yes, so if you want to play games for trophies, if that's where you get your satisfaction, that's fine. But if Yield and I just want to play games and not necessarily care about our platinum count that much anymore, then why aren't both legit?
I never said it wasn't legit.
You quit.
But if I'm not going to give you shit, then you shouldn't give me shit.
You're the one that started by giving me shit.
No. All I was doing was clarifying what Yield said. That's all I did.
What did I say?
That I saved over and popped trophies without playing the game.
Oh, I thought that's what you did, because you said that's what you did.
No.
No?
I legit played every game.
Legit. Okay. That's cool.
Legit played every game.
Legit
It's
played.
like fighting words going back and forth.
Legit played 238 games.
Yes.
All right.
And I said the only trophy on my list that was not earned by me was done in a way to test out if cross-playing could get a trophy, and the trophy was in Assassin's Creed, in which somebody just literally had to walk to a balcony and the trophy popped.
Didn't Sweet Mama D get you some trophies?
You mean share play or you mean
Negative.
cross play? You mean share play?
Share play. Share play when it first came out, where you could from your house play a game on my PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
I back then there was the question of if somebody was share playing and a trophy popped, would it come? Whose account would it go on? So I had at the time RC Stash. I don't know if you guys remember him.
Yeah.
I share played with him. I got to the place where the balcony was. I told him to walk to the balcony, press the button in which SEO just leans on the balcony, and a trophy pops because that's a legit trophy. And then we undid the share play. I looked on my trophy count, and the trophy was on my list. But I had him do it because it's a simple trophy that I could have done myself arbitrarily. But yes, technically one person popped one trophy on my list.
Hold on, wait. Didn't
Everything
Sweet
else
Mama
is
D earn some
legitimate.
trophies on your account?
Negative.
You sure about that? I feel like that was something we talked about on the podcast.
She did earn trophies on my account with Just Dance, but I formatted that system and those trophies never hit my list. Because I'm honorable.
All
Alright, Joe, what do you play, sir?
Right now, just some like quick, easy trophy games because that's what I'm doing, and I've been playing Road to the Show and MLB The Show.
Alright, and
Now, hold on,
I'm
Joe, I got a question for you. Do you play certain games, like the trophy games, the easy trophy games, alongside other games? Because you mentioned MLB The Show. I'm assuming that's not like a great trophy game, it's just one you're just playing because you enjoy it.
Oh, I love baseball. I play the show every year.
So you're not just like flogging these platinum games, you're also playing other games too. You're kind of doing the same side by side.
Yeah, I mean, like, I play the show for like a little bit each day, and then like the last couple days I've been kind of like tired from work or whatever. Not because like I've been working hard or whatever. It's really slow. I'm just like tired because I don't have to get my energy up at work, and I'm just kind of like slogging through my day. But I come home, I play like a couple games usually. Like I'll get like a plat or two, and then I will play the show, like Road to the Show, which is like my player.
I've always heard that MLB The Show is a really good game series.
Yeah, it's going multi-plat next year, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Yep.
Now, hold on. Which would be your console of choice to play that on? Since you play both the Xbox and the PlayStation.
Xbox.
You're gonna trade off your PS for a show?
Controller preference.
Just go get a scuff controller like I do.
I don't want to get a scuff controller. I have an Elite V2 controller.
Oh my lord.
Well, Joe, is
I
that
didn't
going to
pay
be a
for it either.
cross-platform game then?
Say what?
Is that going to be a cross-platform game when it all comes to all systems?
Yeah.
MLB, well, they haven't officially confirmed it yet, but MLB did say that it's no longer exclusive, and then, like, 2 minutes after that announcement, both Microsoft and Nintendo posted baseball memes on their Twitters. So, it's pretty much guaranteed it's going to them, too.
Well, no. I mean,
I'm telling you,
cross-platform is in if he plays on the Xbox, can he play with other people on the PlayStation?
We don't know.
I don't know. We don't know yet. Only thing we know right now is that the show is not going to be a PlayStation exclusive anymore. That's all we know right now.
It's alright,
It
we're
doesn't
going to get
surprise
Bloodborne
me.
too.
All right, and I have been playing Division 2, obviously. I started playing the Control, and since I have... I'm not far into it yet. So far, I don't like the... Here's a pun. I don't like the way it controls. It feels very similar to when I played it at PAX East, but I am getting used to it, so maybe, as I go deeper into it, I'll have better impressions. And because I have PlayStation Now to play Control, I've also downloaded NASCAR Heat, because remember last week I was saying I wanted to play the new NASCAR game, which is
I saw you playing
NASCAR Heat 4.
How is that? Because I've heard the Heat games are
They're not the games of EA. Like, I raced at Daytona, and even though, like, this is a mini quirk to me and, like, this is a first world problem, I clearly passed somebody below the yellow line at Daytona and didn't black flag me, and that kind of irritated me.
See, I don't like the NASCAR racing games for the simple fact of the wrecking module isn't legit, where you could tumble your car down the backstretch and then still...
And, of course, it doesn't come out.
And then come into the pits and still run up front. I mean, you can go end for end. And it's like, that car shouldn't even be driving anymore. And I'm just...
What I don't like is like, again, racing at Daytona, bump drafting is a part of racing.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm drafting the guy, and I come up and I barely tap his bumper. All of a sudden, he's spinning out.
Awesome.
But yet, but going into a curve, I can nail a guy's back end, and he holds his line perfectly. So, yeah, I'm gonna play a little bit more. I did create a character. I don't like the fact that you start out off as a dirt racer.
I'd be okay with that.
So
Work your way
I
up.
thought I would be too, but see, like the first race I did was at Charlotte, which is not like the big Charlotte track. It's like the inner track. And then the next race I did was Bristol, and they covered Bristol in complete dirt. But it's the actual Bristol track, like the half mile around. So it's like everything you know about how to drive Bristol in a game completely changes because now you are literally drifting into the turns all the way around. And basically, as soon as you come out of a drift, out of a turn, into the straightaway, you have to start drifting again to make the other turn. Otherwise, you're going to hit the outside wall. So. All right, so everybody that doesn't care about NASCAR, we're done with that talking. All right, so let's get into our news stories. Alex made the comment about people going to work. Apparently, GameStop employees no longer have to go to work. There's two parts of the story.
Yeah, I know.
The first part of the story is coming from IGN. It says GameStop employees are told to keep the stores open because they are, quote, essential, end quote, business amid the coronavirus outbreak.
That is fucking ridiculous.
From IGN.
GameStop has never been essential, and especially not in recent years when no one goes there to buy anything.
That I do agree with the essential statement is a little over the top.
Did you see the reason?
Hold on, let me get into the article here. I know you guys want to do this. Coming from IGN, across the United States, stores deemed non-essential are closing either voluntary or by government order to help people keep safe and limit the spread of the outbreak of coronavirus. But employees at the video retailer GameStop claim managers and corporate executives are failing to comply with these ordinances, and GameStop has confirmed to IGN that its intention to keep stores open, quote, as essential businesses, end quote. A representative for GameStop has since confirmed to IGN via email that the corporation is keeping stores open as essential business during the pandemic, citing a list of items GameStop sells that the company deems to be, quote, essential products. These list of items provided to IGN include webcams, microphones, mice, keyboard, monitors, chargers, audio equipment, and more. No game or game consoles are listed. IGN obtained internal memos from GameStop corporate informing them that stores should remain open despite the pandemic. Quote, due to the products we carry that enable or enhance our customers' experience in working from home, we believe GameStop is classified as essential retail and therefore is able to remain open during this time, end quote. Now, there's more on the article, but mostly it's repeating all that. Now you gentlemen may mock and make fun of this.
The rumor that I heard is that they're in such shit financial shape that they can't afford to go to close the stores during this because that would be the nail in the coffin. I mean, like, think about it. Like, their business model, they used to be making money hand over fist because of the used game market. Now with the like digital downloads and like Walmart has even for a long time now been the number one games retailer in the U.S. How many people sell video games now? Like, how you can just buy them off of Amazon, but especially because you can just download them to your console. Like, GameStop's idea that they are essential, and I don't actually believe that they are essential. They're just trying to make an excuse to stay open so they can make some money because they need to make money because their business model is fucked. They are like, if they do not go out of business in the next few years or in the next year, I would be surprised because their business model is dead. They have nothing.
GameStop provided this following statement to IGN, quote, while GameStop is best known as a provider for gaming and home entertainment systems, we offer a wide variety of products and devices that are important to facilitate remote work, distance learning, and virtual connectivity. As millions of Americans face unprecedented challenges adapting to the virtual learning, working, and interaction, there is a significant need for technology solutions, and we are one of many providers for these products that remain open at this time. Schools, businesses, and families are now suddenly dependent on being able to connect through technology. While there are many businesses and organizations far more critical than ours, we believe we have a positive impact on this very challenging time. The health and safety of our employees and customers is of the utmost importance, and we have and will continue to take extensive precautions consistent with CDC guidelines. We are complying with all state, county, city, and local ordinances and will continue to adjust to any future developments, end quote.
GameStop has like 2 keyboards in stock total.
I was waiting for somebody to make that connection.
That's it.
But it's essential.
No, anything that GameStop sells, you can get cheaper elsewhere. You can buy that shit off of Amazon. And you know what? Like we said, you can buy games directly from the console makers over their internet infrastructure. Now, I mean,
You
some
can't
people...
even buy it on Amazon right now, though, because they're only delivering, like, toilet paper and, like, medical supplies.
Oh.
They're not delivering games. Like, my Final Fantasy VII is delayed.
It's delayed. It's not, like, just pushed back. It's not being delivered slower.
My delivery date says pending now.
Okay, well, then, do you have the internet, though?
I do have the internet.
Because that is an issue for some people. They may not have internet service, like a lot of schools that are closing here in Jefferson County. They are trying to figure out how to get kids who don't have internet access, regular internet access, like laptops and stuff, so that they can actually use the internet to complete their schoolwork if they do close school throughout the rest of the year. So internet access
that's a thing that's
could
gonna
be an
happen.
issue. But like you, as someone who has the internet, and you who have consoles, you could just go download them. You don't need to go to GameStop.
Why would I buy an icky digital copy?
Well, I would ask you, why would you support a store, one, who tried to sell me a used copy of Okami as new, which prevented me from ever shopping there again, 4, forces their employees to work during this time, and as a video games retailer, considers themselves essential.
I don't really feel bad for the fact that they have to work, like, my friends work there, and, like, I don't feel bad just because, like, I am also working.
I am too, but I'm also selling people food, so I'm essential.
Yeah.
You need food to live, you
All
do
right.
not need video games to live.
The second part of this is all the conversations like we just had. We're saying that they're not essential. GameStop has officially decided, starting March 22nd, to close all stores. Quote, in their words, temporarily stop customers' access to storefronts, processing orders only on a digital-only basis, and moving to curbside pickup stores and e-commerce delivery only. So there's still people working in the store. You're just not able to go to the store. You have to do curbside pickup. Their quote was, "Our priority has been and continues to be on the well-being of our employees, customers, and business partners. We have been steadfast to adhere to CDC guided safety and local government orders for retailers in each of our communities." That's end quote. GameStop's statement also went on to say that the company has assured employees that they do not have to work if they feel uncomfortable with it and should stay home if they feel sick. GameStop adds that they will, quote, pay all U.S. employees whose hours have been eliminated an additional 2 weeks at their regular pay rate based on the average hours worked in the last 10 weeks, end quote. And that GameStop will reimburse all benefits eligible employees their portion of benefit expenses.
So, I mean, this announcement is, one, either done because they caught so much backlash for trying to stay open, and two, also because governors of a lot of states are saying, by law, you cannot be open, or you have to follow some certain rules. So this was not done out of the goodness of their heart. Now, I will say them doing, like, paying their employees, which a lot of companies are not doing, like, I will give them props for that. But they are not taking this measure because they feel they should. They're being forced to.
All right. Anybody else have any more comments they want to make about this?
I don't think a lot of those stores are doing, like, curbside or whatever you want to call it. I mean, like, when are they going to do that?
Well, I got an email from Best Buy because apparently I bought all the Star Wars movies in 4K. And I totally forgot it. But I got an email from them saying that when it's released, that I need to pull up to the front of the Best Buy with my trunk open. Somebody will walk to my driver's side window, verify that I am who I am and my order. They will place my product in my trunk, and then I am responsible for closing my trunk.
It's exceptionally extra.
Right, but the funny thing is in my car, like, my trunk is part of my car. Like, you open up the back hatch, because I have a Chevy Equinox. you open up the back hatch, like, there's nothing separating from me from the trunk. So, but I have to drive up with my trunk open, wait for them to verify it. They'll put it in my trunk. I have to drive away and then close my trunk once I'm away from the front of the store.
I mean, are they really making that much money during this time selling games to people? I mean, I don't know. I've seen pictures of New York City, and of course, New York is kind of in a crisis right now. But, like, even downtown Louisville is, like, there's, like, you take a look downtown, and it's just clear. Like, the streets are clear. There's so many businesses closed and people staying home. Can they really be making more than one sale an hour, if that?
So, one of my buddies is a store manager, and he said with everybody getting, like, essentially getting ready to locked up and not work and stuff like that, he said that he's been busier now than they were during the holiday time.
That is surprising. Now, like, did he say what they were buying? Was it mostly people buying the newer games, like the Dooms and Pokemon Mystery Dungeon or Animal Crossing?
This was before Doom and Animal Crossing came out. So, like, the couple days before it came out. So, I mean, that Pokemon Mystery Dungeon didn't do that well. Like, my store is a busier store in state, like the one that I go to, and they only got, like, 6 or 8 copies of it. So it's, like, a really, like, niche title.
At the same time, though, it's probably one of the bigger name releases because it is Pokemon at the time. I mean, It's going to be overshadowed by Doom and Animal Crossing, of course, but I can't really think of any other big releases right around this time.
Yeah, just Final Fantasy VII, that's it. And Resident Evil's coming out soon, too.
All right, moving on to our next story. Sony reportedly pulls Mario creation from Dreams after a Nintendo complaint. Sony is reportedly pulling the Super Mario creation from Dreams after Nintendo issued a complaint, according to Go Nintendo via Eurogamer. Dreams player Piece of Craft took to Twitter to talk about their creation being pulled from the game, alleging their Super Mario model, which is available for other players to use in their own Dreams creations, was taken down. Piece of Craft also stated that they received an email from Sony Interactive Entertainment Europe, said that Nintendo had issued a complaint about their intellectual property being used in a Sony game. Piece of Craft's Mario model can be seen being used in other users' creations. It's unclear if those creations have been impacted by Sony's decision to remove it. Piece of Craft followed up by saying that they can no longer edit the Mario creation as it's been marked, quote, removed, due to copyright material. Says, I can remix it, but the original I can no longer edit, and others will not be able to find or be able to use it. Not sure what will happen to the levels that use the Mario. We'll have to wait and see. It's kind of a slap on the wrist. Now, the article does go on, but does anybody think that Nintendo... I mean, obviously they're within their right, but do you think they went too far in taking us down out of Dreams? Yield, we'll start with you, sir.
I mean, I'd have to look at the picture. I mean, is it like...
It's spot on, Mario.
Spot on, Mario.
Spot on.
I mean, they're like the Dreams team. They're trying to get
they should complain about it.
But the Dreams team, like, they're trying to allow people to take their creations in Dreams and use them elsewhere. So that means if people are creating things that are Nintendo properties, then they are trying to get by the rules of the game, and by the tools that they have, that they could potentially take those elsewhere and do other things with them. So, I mean...
Well, Alex, I'll go with you on that. If this was to be created outside of Dreams, but this is within Dreams, and there's no monetization for this right now.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
so
eventually they will be allowing people, hopefully they said, to take stuff out that they create in Dreams and use it elsewhere. So people can create something in Dreams and then use it elsewhere.
Correct, but that's not happening now.
That's true, but if they don't set this precedent now, then you have a bigger problem trying to put out more fires in the future. I mean, do you think Sony would allow, if Nintendo had something like this on their console, do you think Sony would allow vestiges of Aloy in that game?
I'm going to say no, they're not going to allow it.
Well, wasn't Nintendo also a company that killed off a lot of, for a while that they were killing off Let's Plays on YouTube of their games?
They weren't killing them off, they were just monetizing every one of them.
Okay, but Nintendo obviously has always had a very strong hold on their properties, which I guess we can understand, which is why when stuff like was it Mario Run or Magikarp Jump or all these like mobile games like Pokemon started coming out like for the mobile companies, like people were shocked because Nintendo had never let anything go outside of their purview.
Joe, what do you think about this?
Nintendo's actually, or has always been like very protective of their properties, and I mean like this goes back like years. There was someone made like a custom Pokemon game called Pokemon Uranium for like PC, and it like mimicked like the old Game Boy Advance games, and someone made it. It took them a couple years to make it, and it was a free download, and they were just like, yeah, no, you can't have this, and then they got it pulled from like wherever it was download. Like you could still download it, but like where he had it available, you can't find it anymore.
I mean, I just think Nintendo's well within the right to do this. I just think this wasn't necessary.
Well, I mean, like think about it, like Disney, like. Part of the reason that Sora, people were saying that like Nintendo's come out and said they've approached Disney about using Sora in Smash Brothers, and they said basically no, we got shut down. Look at Disney and how protective they are. A lot of these companies.
I thought that was stupid too, though. I thought that was stupid too.
Yeah, like you would think that it would bring more attention to Kingdom Hearts and to Nintendo's properties. Yeah, you look at something like Microsoft and bringing Banjo there. Of course, they're not doing anything with Banjo now, but like bringing Banjo to Super Smash Bros. Was a smart thing because it brings back the interest in Banjo. It makes people realize like, hey, I really like Banjo. If they come out with another game, I'll buy it. Or it introduces a character to a new audience, and they're like, hey, this character's cool. But I mean, I think almost every company would do this. I think that at least any entertainment company I can think of, like there's always something like this where they're shutting down something where it's like, hey, you can't use this potentially for commercial uses, obviously, but I feel like you insert company A into like a Mad Lib and instead of Nintendo, and I think almost any company would have done this in Nintendo's position.
Not only that, but like when they announced Banjo was coming to Smash, they also did like an announcement like if you want to play Banjo-Kazooie, you could play it on Xbox One and it's backwards compatible too, like during the Nintendo press conference. Which, like, really kind of surprised me.
Well, yeah, I mean, because, like, Microsoft, with this move, they're smart. Like, this is a smart move. Like, yes, they've been trailing behind in the current console race, but, they do have smart people working there. It's like, hey, we can put Banjo in there, and we can market this, and we can make money off an older game that, they didn't have a lot of success with Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, but they realized that Banjo-Kazooie is a valuable franchise, and if they can, put out, like, sell people the original game and then use that to sell a new game in the series down the line, that's good marketing.
I hope they give it to Playtonic.
But as like far as Mario, like Mario being in like a Sony game, I mean that's not great marketing because everyone knows who Mario is. You don't need that in there. And like I said, I mean you can say that's unnecessary by Nintendo and they're kind of being killjoys, but I feel like Sony, if Ratchet and Clank showed up somewhere, or Aloy, or Kratos, if they showed up in some Nintendo game, Sony would put the kibosh on that.
To actually add to this, someone made like a multiplayer Halo game or whatever for like the PC that was free to play because there wasn't like one to actually play since Halo 2 got shut down, and Microsoft actually gave those guys jobs.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you find talented people, then if they can make good stuff, why not give them jobs, especially if they're versed in the franchise.
Yeah.
Tricky, you were talking about earlier how, and this is something we've all kind of echoed, about Nintendo being very protective and like shutting down mods and stuff. Actually, I think it was you, Joe. But
yeah.
I know there are different mods for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate right now. Like Smash Flash is a game you can play, and it's got like a bunch of characters like Waluigi and Sora that aren't in Goku, I think, is in there too. A bunch of characters you can't play in Ultimate. And then there's also like other mods. Have they loosened their grip? Because I don't know how those other games exist with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate still being a thing, and Nintendo, having such a tight grip on everything.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, it seems like there are mods for Nintendo games out there now that are still existing and like being advertised on YouTube by like say prominent Smash Brothers players. So I just didn't know if anyone had if I had missed the reading somewhere, that Nintendo was kind of like more cool with that stuff now.
I mean, people are going to do what they want to do.
That's true, but obviously if Nintendo finds who knows, maybe someone from Nintendo plays Dreams, but if they can find something within Dreams like this, I figure like a Flash game wouldn't be that hard for them to sniff out and put the kibosh on.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our last news topic before our topic of the week. Yield.
Yes,
You like Tales from the Borderlands, right?
I do.
Did you forget about me and how I have the platinum in that game and how I say it's the best Telltale game?
Could you be patient for me to lead into this?
No, obviously not, because I spoke up already.
Oh my lord! You just kill my segues. All right, so since some segues killed,
They were dead on arrival.
Tales from the Borderlands Redux leak seems to tease a sequel. 2 short clips from what is reportedly a trailer from Tales from the Borderlands re-release with added content has been posted online. These videos also tease a sequel to the Telltale game. First surfacing on Reddit, the 2 clips are videos of the trailer playing on a monitor. The clips fit together to make a whole trailer. Both are under a minute and they are hosted on Imager, which only allows videos up to 60 seconds, which reveals a game called Tales from the Borderlands Redux. If real, Redux will apparently include developer commentary for each episode, codex entries, new concept art, unused content from the original release, and a new, quote, mini episode. The trailer does not say how many minutes of extra gameplay this episode will provide, but the framing of the short cuts the shot cuts the digits out of the frame. The trailer concludes on a 2020 date, which then flickers into a single digit 2. Which could be seen as a teaser for a sequel or second season of Tales from the Borderlands.
Brain it.
The studio logos at the start of the trailer include Telltale, 2K, Gearbox, and most interestingly, Ad Hoc Studio, which is a developer set up by an ex-Telltale Games staff employee. So, Yield. And, well, you know what, Alex? What do you think about this? Yield.
Brain it. Shut up and take my money.
Okay, Joe, what do you think about this?
Tales from the Borderlands is actually one of my favorite episodic games. So if I can get more Gortys, I'm all in. As long as it has a new achievement list and a trophy list.
We've heard rumors about Telltale, or ever since the Phoenix Rising from the Ashes, the new Telltale, we heard rumors about a Tales from the Borderlands sequel, because I think there was always planned to be one. Did we not talk about in the show how Gearbox would be willing to do a Tales from the Borderlands sequel?
There was an employee at Gearbox that said that they wanted to head it up.
The guy, I think
it never was. It was never officially Gearbox.
Yeah, was it the one who wrote 2 or 3?
I think the guy that wrote 3 said he would love to do a sequel, but it's never been Gearbox that said, "Hey, we're gonna do it." It was the employee at Gearbox that said it.
But I mean, there are articles like going back to February about rumors about Tales from the Borderlands 2 being a thing. So this comes as no surprise. I would certainly be on board with it because I would love to buy a sequel to Tales from the Borderlands because I appreciate the world that was created with Borderlands, and I do like the characters and I love the art style. I was never super into the original Borderlands game, and I've never played Borderlands 2. It's a fun game, but it's not a universe I could jump into and get wrapped up in as easily as others. So I recognize the creativity that went into it, and I recognize it's really good. But for me, Tales from the Borderlands and the characters that were created there were far more interesting than anything I played in the original Borderlands by Gearbox. So I actually prefer Tales to the Borderlands, the spin-off, as opposed to the full-fledged Borderlands games.
Alrighty. Alright. That is the end of our topics, but we do have a topic of the week. Now, this is when we're going to get very nerdy and technical.
Which means it's Tricky's time to shine, and Yield and I are just going to sit here and gawk.
Yeah. We'll be like, what'd you say? Dumb it down.
I'm going to assume that neither one of you guys watched the video.
You are absolutely right. I watched nothing about the PlayStation 5 news. As a matter of fact, when I saw something that you posted something about, hey, there's PlayStation 5. Who's ready for PlayStation 5 news? I was like, oh, that's tonight?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, I know that people are really excited about this, and they'll want to gobble up every bit of information they can about the PlayStation 5. I'm going to buy it. I'm already kind of sold, because I've never not owned a Sony console, as far as, the home consoles go, so I'm kind of already in. Now, I'm not going to buy it right away. I'll wait, but I don't really need to know anything else other than the studios that work for Sony are going to still be making games for the PlayStation 5.
All right, Joe, did you watch this video at all?
Yeah, I did. I got kind of bored by it, because it was a lot of technical stuff. And I obviously kind of wanted to see the system, and I really wanted to see some like a tech demo of all this tech that they're talking about. Like, you remember what I don't remember what they did with the PS4, but you remember when the PS3 they showed its like graphical power by showing that video of ducks and how many ducks they could fit on the screen or whatever.
Is that like in the bathtub?
Yeah, and like, I mean, you don't have to show me a game, or just like show me what this thing is capable of doing. Like, don't just like talk to me about a hard drive for like 40 minutes.
All right, now to be fair, when Sony kind of mismarketed this in a way where they went out to the actual gamers and said, "Hey, come listen to PlayStation 5 news." What in reality this was since GDC got canceled, this was the speech that Sony was going to give at GDC that was aimed at all of the developers. So this wasn't really meant for the gamers, but Sony put this out and advertised it as, hey, come check out the PlayStation 5, which they didn't lie about because it was an hour-long talk about the PlayStation 5. It was just not what the gamers really wanted because they wanted to see the hardware. They wanted to see the new DualShock 5. They wanted to see games. This was not it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Alex's favorite thing and read an article.
Make sure you give credit to the author.
I am. Now, this article is coming from IGN. It is written by Jonathan Dornbush. Now, I'm going to read this semi-fast just to get through it because it's a little bit of a long article, not too long. If there's anything that I say, gentlemen, that you don't understand or have a question about, please feel free to stop me, and I will try to explain it the best I can.
Well, depending on how long this passage is, we might be asleep, given it's all technical jargon.
Well, there was a lot of people falling asleep during this. Ironically, this is the reason why I posted the Jared Petty meme in Trophy Wars Facebook group, because this was a reaction to that. All right, so here we go. Let me get situated here. PlayStation 5 is getting a system architecture deep dive today, hosted by Sony designer Mark Cerny, and they were streaming it and watching it. The deep dive is ongoing. We don't need to reveal that. Okay, PlayStation 5 SSD features. Mark Cerny discussed during the PlayStation 5 reveal event one of the paramount efforts Sony is making with the PlayStation 5, listening to developers to ensure the learning period of getting up to speed with the PlayStation 5 would be quick for developers. Sony's estimating it will take under a month for most developers to get a handle of the PlayStation 5's tech, which is even lower than the company's estimated month to 2 months on the PlayStation 4. The solid-state hard drive, custom built, is also what's key to Sony endeavoring to do to help developers. Cerny explained that rather than the PlayStation 4's hard drive bandwidth of 50 to 100 megabytes per second, the target speed of the PlayStation 5 is 5 gigs at the least. And the hope is that the load times, as opposed to 1 gig in 20 seconds on the PlayStation 4, can become 0.27 seconds for 2 gigs on the PlayStation 5. Cerny also explained that the solid-state hard drive is just not about improving load times for the player, but also to benefit game design. The hope is that developers will be able to use a standard-state hard drive to more easily load in textures and areas of a level more quickly than ever before, as not to have as segment levels with all too familiar elevator rides we experience in games. The hard drive on the PlayStation 5 will likely have more RAM. Most of the RAM is working on the game's behalf, Cerny explained. The core goals of the standard state hard drive and the PlayStation 5, according to Sony, are, quote, boot the game in a second, no load screens, designed with freedom, more disk space on the game and on the solid state hard drive, and patch installs go away. Install times and the lack of them on the PlayStation 5 are clearly what's important priorities for Sony, given Cerny's explanation. Quote, with a solid state hard drive, though, no seeks, no need to make brand new files with changes incorporated, which means no installs as you know them today, end quote. But the solid-state hard drive is the only element that allows for all this to happen, Sony explained. The hard drive has a custom flash controller, which includes 6 different levels of priority for developers to use. What this essentially means is that developers can code what elements of the game need to be prioritized in how they're delivered to the player. Cerny also spoke to the expandability of the solid-state hard drive and the kind of storage you need. According to Cerny, depends on how you use it. A large external hard drive is ideal for players with a large PlayStation 4 backlog. Cerny suggested keeping PlayStation 4 games on the hard drive as not to take up the space of the pricier 5's solid-state hard drive. Any questions so far?
It just sounds like a bunch of tech stuff.
It really is a bunch of tech stuff. All right, so no more questions. We're going to keep going.
Keep going, because... Yeah, keep going.
I'm trying to do this as fast as I can.
Oh, I know.
PlayStation's 5 GPU backward compatibility and more. A custom RDNA2 based AMD GPU is installed in the PlayStation 5. Speaking with AMD, Sony aimed to have a custom GPU, reduce power consumption, optimize performance, and add a new advanced feature set, but a set that is malleable. Sony said, in fact, that the hope is players seeing PC GPU, all these initials are going to get tongue-tied, around the launch of the PlayStation 5 is similar features, meaning Sony's efforts have proven valuable, not that Sony has already taken the existing GPUs off the shelf. As for backwards compatibility, Sony confirmed that the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro Legacy modes will be included in the system to run PlayStation 4 games. While the PlayStation 5 will normally run at a native mode for all next-gen games, at launch, Sony confirmed that the PlayStation 5 will be able to play, quote, almost all, end quote, of the top 100 most played PlayStation 4 games at the launch of the system. That is 100 is determined by the most play time. As for backwards compatibility, Sony had to follow the same updated breakdown. Quote, lastly, we're excited to confirm that the backwards compatibility features are working well. We recently took a look at the top 100 PlayStation 4 titles as ranked by game time and expected almost all of them to be playable at launch on the PlayStation 5, with more than 4,000 games being published on the PlayStation 4. We will continue the testing process and expand backwards compatibility coverage over time, end quote. Okay. That is backwards compatibility.
Well, hold on, let me ask.
Almost...
This makes no mention of PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 1 games.
Right. Yes. That's what I was about to go into before we do the next section.
Okay.
The PS1, PS2, and PS3 have never been confirmed by Sony. It's always been a rumor that Sony never confirmed or denied. From inside sources, they are saying that the PlayStation 5 can do backwards compatibility right now, currently, with every system except for the PS3, and that's because they're having a hard time getting the cell processor into the PlayStation 5 to properly run the PS3 games. My feeling is if they can't get the 3 to work, we're not going to get 2 or 1, because they're not going to just skip over a generation.
Yeah, but you've also going to have a lot of people who assume that the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 compatibility is coming, and they'll be quite pissed. I mean, granted, they'll probably still buy the 5 anyway, but you will have people... Because I feel like now it is an expectation that it's coming.
Well, it's been highly rumored. I mean, I was even talking to Levi about it, because Levi thought it was coming as well. I had to clarify... The only backwards compatibility that Sony has confirmed at any time was PlayStation 4. It was always rumored, heavily rumored, that 1, 2, and 3 was also coming.
And it sounds like you're not even going to get all the 4 games. You're just going to get the latest.
Or
the greatest.
At launch, all of them, or most of them are going to work. We're eventually going to get them all.
Okay.
See,
yeah, eventually.
I think the issue with this is, they're really mismanaging their messaging, because when I watched that tech demo, they said the 100 most played, and that was basically all they really talked about. So I'm like, oh, they're only gonna have 100 games or whatever, and then they had to release a separate message saying, oh yeah, no, all 4,000 or whatever. And this is the Xbox One reveal all over again, where they're saying something, and then they're at and then it's getting mainstream media or whatever, and it's oh, you're not gonna be able to play the majority of your PS4 games, and then they're oh, no, wait, no, this is actually a thing now. This is what we meant to say.
Yeah, I honestly, Sony just needs to come out and reveal and do hey, this is the reveal event, because we already know what the Xbox One Series X is going to look like. It's just time for Sony to come out and do it. They're not doing E3. I understand that they're getting on, they're on their own schedule and they don't want to do E3. Not that they could do E3, but they haven't been in E3 the last 2 years. They didn't do a PSX. We expected the reveal in February. We're now almost at the end of March. Like, and the rumor is the console is coming out at the end of October, early November. Like, how long are they going to wait to actually reveal the console to us?
What if the console final design isn't even done yet because they don't want it to be a meme? I could totally see that being a thing.
I don't think Sony really cares about that.
No, because I mean, the series, they showed the Series X, and then it's a fridge, and then it's a trash can, and then that
bazooka.
PS5 dev kit leaks, and it's a toddler trainer toilet seat, and it's a vacuum, and when the PS4 released, it was an eraser. I mean, I can totally see them doing that, but I want to see more on this thing, and it's I got some SSD specs or whatever, and it's just and the other thing is they revealed all these specs or whatever, and they're talking about I think they talked about the hard drive so much or whatever because it's obviously much better than the one in the Series X, and that's what they're going with, because when you look at the specs side by side, they're both, I mean, the Xbox Series X looks better on paper, which when last gen started or whatever, it was all about power. I didn't really care or whatever, because it's I'm gonna play games on it or whatever, and I have that same attitude going in or whatever. I prefer Xbox or whatever, and last gen I didn't care about how much less powerful the Xbox One was, and I'm going this way too or whatever. It's I don't care. They're about the same in my book, you know what I mean? With that hard drive or whatever, the third-party games are going to load in 3 seconds instead of 6 seconds, and the resolution is going to be slightly a little bit less, to the point where I'm going to have to get within 3 inches of my TV, my 65-inch television, to notice a difference.
All right, let's finish off this article real quick. Sony's focus on 3D audio in the PlayStation 5. Sony also spoke to some of the new features of the PlayStation 5 allows for, how 3D audio is such a major focus in letting developers, quote, build new dreams, end quote. Sony's goal for audio on the PlayStation 5 are great audio for all, not just people with soundbars or home theater systems. Hundreds of advanced sound sources. The intention is to make every sound in a game matter and be impactful. Presence and locality, the feeling of a player actually being in the world of the game. So Sony described it a bit about Sony's Tempest audio engine being used on the PlayStation 5 and how it will have many applications to the PlayStation 5. Its 3D audio functionality is key to Sony's endeavors. Sorry, my dog's drinking right now. Sony had the process of a multi-year process to properly allow for all the variances in how players listen to the games they play. While 3D audio on the headphones is more precise, Sony's implementing virtual surround sound for TV speakers, essentially creating a sweet spot for the player to be situated so that the speakers can simulate 3D audio. Headphones are, quote, the gold standard for audio on the PlayStation 5 at this time, though. In fact, Sony was so bullish on how 3D audio could majorly impact that he even discussed a future when Sony could theoretically, years from now, custom build and mold audio equipment tuned to a player's ears. And I'm not going to read the specs because nobody's going to get the specs. But that's all the news that came out of this. Now, again, I've said this at the beginning of this topic, and I also said it throughout the topic. This was not for the gamers. This was more or less for the developers. But there are people that want to know the specs. Now we have the specs. Alex, how do you feel about all this? I mean, I know you said you're buying the PlayStation 5, probably not at launch, but does this interest you at all?
I mean, I guess it's good to know. It's nice to hear. To be honest, I'm kind of like Joe, where I'm like, don't tell me what the specs are, because I'm not going to be able to relate to that. I want to see footage. I want to see gameplay. I want to see how it compares to the older PlayStation consoles. If you want to point out how things run and frame rate and all that, that's where you're going to get me. To be honest, the backwards compatibility thing is a little bit more important to me than the specs. So, I mean, as far as backwards compatibility and showing me how the system runs, like, that's where you're gonna get me. It's not in like, oh, well, this has this processor and blah blah blah, and this is what it's gonna do. Like, I just can't relate to that because I'm not focused on that. Don't tell me, show me. I've always been more visual.
All right, you.
I have no idea what you just said. But I'm with Alex. I'm more of a visual guy. Show me, then tell me. Then I can put two and two together. Don't tell me because I can't put two and two together.
Yield, I knew what your answer was going to be, but I still had to ask.
Oh no! I'm perfectly fine with that answer. I was trying to pay attention. You lost me after about the second sentence, and I'm just like, what?
Well, I mean, like, it's like you said, like, even if there are certain people who don't necessarily care about this information, there are people, like investors, and there are, PlayStation gamers who would like to know this information. They want to know the specs. So, I mean, they need to feed both audiences, essentially. Like, the me and the Yields, who just want to see gameplay, and then the Trickies, who, want to see gameplay also, but also want to know the specs, and, kind of...
the power!
That can sit there and, like, are more technically focused than the rest of us.
Oh, one thing I didn't say, because I skipped over because I thought it was part of an article. For playing PlayStation 5 games, Cerny said ideally players will add to their solid-state hard drive storage. The PlayStation 5 will have a bay that supports commercial M2 NVMe drives that players can purchase to expand their memory. However, Cerny did not specify... he didn't list them just yet. So there will be expandable storage as well.
That's been with every PlayStation console, right? Well, since the 3.
Yes or no? What this is saying is that, I want to be clear about how I say this.
Kind of like a save card?
Bring back memory cards!
The best equivalent, and please take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, because this is not what it is. Essentially, what they're saying is that you're going to be able to buy drives to put a second hard drive into the PlayStation 5 internally.
To supplement the one you already have. So it's not like taking one out and formatting a new one. It's
right.
You have your original one and then another one that goes in there as well.
Right. But again, take what I'm saying as with a grain of salt.
I always do.
That's not exactly what it is. It's just expandable storage internally. You will always be able to have the external. You're always going to have the one. But this is kind of like, we're putting this in here, and this can be removed and taken out put in and taken out at whim without, damaging the console.
What if the internal storage is a living thing and it can expand itself, and that's how it's expanding? It's self-expanding, which is how you can fit more on there. It's like a human.
It's time to close out the show. It's time to close out the show.
Well, hold on, I have a question. I have a question for our guest host. Now, I know that you talked about playing MLB The Show, Joe, because you like, on the Xbox, because you like the controller. Let's say you go into a store and you have enough money to buy, a new console. And they say, well, hey, supply is really constrained. Demand is so high that you can only buy one. You can either buy the Xbox or the PlayStation 5. Which one are you buying?
Well, I'm going to get the Xbox.
Oh. So when you play the PlayStation, when you decide to come over to the PlayStation for a little bit, is that only because of the trophies, or do you actually like a lot of the games that Sony makes?
So, when I finished my million gamer score, I promptly started playing God of War. That was the first thing I did. So, I play the first party games on it, and then I play the trophy spam.
So, but you're more of like, what is it about Xbox that would make you choose it over Sony? Is it like the online space? Is it the hardware itself? Is it the games?
Oh, all my friends are on there. I've met like tons of people on the Xbox like over the years. I generally I prefer the controller and like a lot. Like, I have bigger hands, and the PS4 controller is not a bad controller, but it's just like, I don't prefer it as much as I prefer the Xbox One controller, because a lot of first of all, they have like tons of controllers, like special ones and stuff like that I like. Obviously, I have like 30 Xbox One controllers. because I buy like special editions and stuff with that all the time. But like I like that they have ones with the grips on the back, and then I like that they have the Elite controllers, which are like you can customize them and stuff like that, like the sensitivity of the thumbsticks and like the types of thumbsticks that you use. Because when I play like a real game, I use one of those, and like those controllers are, like, in my opinion, like the best controller on the planet. Like nothing matches up to that Elite V2.
So did you own like a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3? Did you ever play it with the previous DualShocks?
Oh yeah. So on the I have a PS3 and which I owned for the show, and I would buy like other exclusives. Like I played Heavy Rain and I played The Last of Us on it and stuff like that. But like I hate the DualShock 3 controller so much. Like it's small and it doesn't feel right in my hands. And like when I had a PS1, it wasn't that bad, and I think it was because I was a kid and the controller was small, and like my hands were obviously small, so it contoured to my hands better. But like as I kind of like grew up or whatever, and I had a PS2, I would not use the DualShock 2s. I had one of those wireless Logitech controllers. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I don't,
believe
but
so.
I'm familiar with Logitech, so I mean.
Yeah, the Logitech controllers were a lot more comfortable than the DualShock 2s, and they were like a little bit pricier, but like I replaced all my DualShocks with those because they were just more comfortable in my hand. And it's just like I've never really been like a fan, like once I like became a teenager and like I kind of like grew, like my hands grew and like my body grew and stuff like that or whatever, like I did not like the DualShocks at all. And then like the Xbox controllers or whatever like fit better in my hands.
The reason I ask that is because like it feels like if you have stuck generally with like one mainline console series for you know most of the time you've been playing, like you get used to that controller, and like everyone has their favorite controller. So if you've been playing on PlayStations your entire life, you can be like, yeah, the DualShock's great, and all these other ones are, you know, garbage. If you primarily play on the Xbox, you're like, yeah, of course the Xbox is better. But I mean, controller preference is very important, because if it doesn't feel comfortable in your hands, then like it's not going to be great for you playing a game.
Yeah.
But like,
No,
so it seems like
the
you have a
PS4
community
controller
on
isn't
Xbox,
bad.
and that community is a big draw for you because, like you said, you've met a ton of people online and just through playing games.
Yeah. But I mean, like 90% of the games I'm gonna play are gonna be third party as well. So I want to play it on the controller I'm more comfortable with. I mean, the DualShock 4 is definitely like a huge upgrade from like the other DualShock mode. Like this feels comfortable in my hands, and like I like the curves on the like the R2 and the L2 and stuff like that. Like this controller is a huge improvement. Like I can play with this, but like when I use my PS3 to play games, I will use the PS4 controller. I will not use the PS3 one. I hate it. And I used to really like when I would play like the 360 and stuff like that. I used to really like that controller, like a lot, because it like fit in my hands and it was really comfortable for me to use. But ever since I've gotten an Xbox One, and like the controller feels like so good. I like go to play like a 360 game or whatever, like a not backwards compatible game, and I'm just like, oh, why would I ever use this thing? Like the controller is terrible to me now.
I mean, the DualShock you said is generally too small for you to use and not as comfortable. How do you feel about the Dreamcast controller? That's one hell of a controller right there.
I never had a Dreamcast, actually.
Oh, okay. Have you seen the
What about
controllers though and how
GameCube?
big they are?
Another thing too, I remember when I worked at GameStop, I was like, I worked there when I was like 16. So like obviously I was still kind of growing, and I remember like when someone would trade in like the Duke or whatever. You remember that thing?
Oh, the Duke was the badass.
Yeah. So like I remember like someone like trading that in or whatever, and I would like hold this, and I'm like, why would anyone ever use this? Like this thing is just massive and it's uncomfortable. And
They
I bought
re-released the
one.
Duke.
I bought one of like the remakes because I forgot who some third party controller company like remade them or whatever. And like now that I'm like an adult or whatever, and I'm like, this thing like is not as bad as like I thought it was or whatever, because it like my hands are much bigger, so it fits in my hands better. So like I get it.
I mean, maybe if we went back, because I remember everyone talking about how the original Xbox controller, maybe that's the Duke you were talking about, correct?
Yeah, the really big one. Like, it's massive.
Yeah, because I'm looking at a picture of it now, and I just remember the original Xbox controller and being like, how the fuck can anybody find this comfortable? I mean, I don't have big hands overall. I've got small, carny hands, which is maybe why I like the PlayStation controller so much. But yeah, I just remember trying to play with the original Xbox controller, and it's like, like people would make jokes like it was playing with a potato, like it's just massive and unwieldy.
I just put the link in the Skype chat, by the way.
Oh, I got my handy dandy cell phone here.
Yeah.
$70. It was made, and it's made by Hyperkin.
Yeah. The other thing that's cool about that too is the Xbox button in the middle or whatever, it doubles as like the guide button that's like at the top in the middle. And when you actually plug the controller in, the original Xbox load up screen is on the LCD screen in the middle, which is really cool.
Well, originally when they released the Xbox, that little Xbox emblem in the middle, that didn't do anything, did it?
No.
It was
But
just like a
in
little
this
jewel
controller-
to tell you that you were playing with an Xbox.
Yeah, in this one, it doubles as the home or the guide button, and it actually has an LCD screen in it that shows like the original Xbox boot up menu.
All right. You want to close out the show now, Alex?
Let's clean this shit up.
Oh, come on. You got to give me a little bit more...
Let's clean this shit up.
ProvenGamer.com is looking for some various podcasts, videos, news reports, and generalized help with the site. If you're interested in buying, go to ProvenGamer.com, click on the Help Line tab. Well, you can't do that. Just email me on my socials.
You need to stop plugging ProvenGamer.com when they can't get to the website. That's like in Pokemon Go when like there's a construction area and there's a Pokemon you want in the construction area and you can't walk to it to get it.
The site will be up, hopefully, a couple days after this show post. If you want to get a hold of us, there are several ways to get a hold of us. The first one is our phone number. Yield, what's the phone number?
330-PROVEN9, 330-776-8369.
You can send us an email at trophyhorse@provingame.com, and you can contact us on Twitter. You can contact me at TrickyMick, contact Alex on the Sauce Rex, contact Yield at I Yield to No One, contact the site at Proving Gamer, contact the show at Trophy Horrors. Check out our Twitch.
What
Twitch
about Joe?
Well, I was going to give Joe a chance to plug everything later in the housekeeping.
Fair enough.
Check us out on twitch.tv/Proving Gamer. Our YouTube videos on YouTube. Search for Official Proving Gamer. If you listen to the podcast, we greatly appreciate it. Be sure to listen to our other podcasts, PG Spoilers and Game Stuff. All the podcasts can be found on
hold
Apple
on, Tricky.
Podcasts.
I want to stop you there. Didn't Daryl say last week that it's defunct? PG Spoilers is defunct?
Well, his version of PG Spoilers. There's other versions going on.
Ah, okay.
See, Daryl liked to take credit for PG Spoilers, but it was never officially his show.
It was the community show.
It was just... It's always been the community show, so if the community has a show, we will post it on there. But Daryl was just taking the reins for a while to provide content for that feed for a while. So he says it's coming back, his version's coming back, but it's always been a community show. All the podcasts can be found on Apple Podcasts, formerly iTunes, Stitcher, your various podcast applications on your smart devices, Google Play, TuneIn, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. PlayStation 4 communities. There's one for the site called Proving Gamer. There's one for the show called Trophy Horrors. The Horrors is spelled with 2 V's, not a W. And Yield's group, which he'll never give you a shout out, which is the Platinum Guild. I feel you, Cat.
I like to imagine that Kaz Harai listens to this show, and that every time we go over the horrors being spelled with 2 V's instead of a W to get around the PlayStation Network's little thing where we can't say horrors on the network, I like to imagine that Kaz Harai just laughs and chuckles every time he hears that, and he goes, "Those genius bastards. They got us again."
Alex, tell us about Humble Bundle.
Humble Bundle is a charity initiative that every month bundles together digital media that they sell at a reduced price. In a bundle, it's tiered, but basically you get to name your price for the bundle. Now, because it is tiered, the more you pay, the more of the content you'll get, so you have to hit certain benchmarks within the tiers in order to earn all of the content. But, if you have to spend $20 as opposed to $2, you're still going to get a great value for the games. Sometimes they've always got video games, but generally there's sometimes like digital books and stuff like that. You can go to humblebundle.com to see what they're offering this month. You could also sign up for their electronic newsletter to stay abreast of all the latest news from Humble Bundle. But yeah, because it is a charity initiative, you can pay a little bit to get some games, but do the best you can and give as much as you can for it to charity.
All right, I know we said we weren't going to go over a bundle, but this particular bundle will, as of recording, will be up for 8 days, so you'll be able to get this bundle once the show comes out. There is a Capcom Mega Bundle. For $1, you're going to be able to get Strider, the Mega Man Legacy Collection, Resident Evil Revelations 2, Episode 1, and Resident Evil 2 with all in-game rewards unlocked. That's all for $1. For an average of $11.44, you're going to get everything I just mentioned, plus the Mega Man X Legacy Collection, Resident Evil 0 HD Remaster, Resident Evil Revelations, Devil May Cry 5. Oh, excuse me, you're going to get 50% off Devil May Cry 5, 50% off Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil Revelations 2 Complete Season. And if you pay $20 or more, you're going to get everything I just mentioned, plus Mega Man 11, Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Edition, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, Dead Rising 4, Resident Evil HD Remaster, and Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition.
Yeah, so for $20, you get a shit ton of games.
Yes.
That's a lot of games. Yeah, but is that tricky? Is that for Steam or that
yes,
for consoles?
I was going to say. I was going to say that is just for Steam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got me all excited for a second.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that most of the time, if not all the time, I think the deals are for Steam games and not for necessarily for consoles, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes in the past there have been deals for the consoles, but usually it's safe to assume that it's just for Steam.
I also want to note that if you pay $10 or more, there's another bundle where you're going to get 6, 12, 14, 20 visual novels for $10.
Yeah, but you can't earn PlayStation trophies, Tricky, so why would you want those?
I'm just putting it out there. Keep it alive. All right, back to the housekeeping. Yield, tell us about Amazon.
Well, people normally go there. You can't get toilet paper. Don't try that because they're sold out. But you normally go to Amazon. You can pretty much buy anything, and they'll ship it to you. Well, you might not get it right away now, unless it's like essentials. But
I think I saw the news where Amazon's hiring 100,000 workers because right now they're just getting throttled by orders. So that's going to create a lot of jobs there.
Work at home customer service.
Until this pandemic blows over, then they'll lay everybody off.
I want to note that right now for $5.94, you could get 4 rolls of toilet paper, holiday themed.
We actually found a big pack of toilet paper, like a good amount of toilet paper at our Kroger last night, like 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's out there. You just got to go look.
Yeah, the goddess found a 30-pack. We were stocked up for a while.
Someone probably already wiped their ass on it.
All right, but yeah, go to Amazon. Go to Proving Gamer first. Click on any Amazon.
Well, I didn't think the website worked.
That's true.
That's why I didn't say nothing about the website. You said tell them about Amazon. You didn't tell them about the connection.
Okay, well,
so that's why I didn't talk about it.
Look, just go to Amazon and help stimulate the economy.
Yes, and if you really want to help us out and you want to take that extra step, just send me a message. I will send you an Amazon link with our code on it, and then you can buy it that way. Normally this time we would tell you about Extra Life, but we're going to cut back on telling you about Extra Life every week and just, tell you about it periodically. And I want to give a shout out to our Patreon producer, Felicia Steph.
Patreon?
Is that what I said?
No, but you didn't mention Patreon at all, as if they want to support us through Patreon.
I was just about to go into it.
Look, man, it's on the list between Amazon and Extra Life, so if you skip over it, you don't mention anything, then, I'm going to assume you just skipped over it. I'm trying to help.
Go to patreon.com/ProofAGamer. No matter what tier you decide to support us at, know that it's greatly appreciated and does help keep the lights on and does help pay for this giant mansion of a podcast server we're on.
So, also, I do want to mention, I know that right now time is not, it's not the best time to be asking for money because a lot of people, are out of work and, they've got bills to take care of. If you can't help us financially, you can always help us by word of mouth. Talk about Trophy Horrors, tell people about Trophy Horrors and how much you like the show. So word of mouth is the best advertising we can ask for, and like that's really the biggest way you could possibly help us. So even if you can't help on Patreon, because we know times are difficult for a lot of people right now, please just tell people about the show.
Yes. Actually, I know a couple Patreons that reached out to me and said that they had to reduce their patronage for the month because of the hard times. And then, like I told them, I totally understand. I'm not, not expecting anybody to donate. When I did that little spiel, that was just basically letting people know there's options. But obviously, we know there's hard times for everybody, and we're not expecting anything. All right, shout-outs. Alex, we're going to start with you, sir.
Give a shout out to the listeners, the fuel to the fire. There's Trophy Horse. We know a lot of you guys are quarantined in your house, and there's not typically a lot to do. If you got a new game, you're playing some Animal Crossing. That's something. If you got Doom, I'm sure you're having a lot of fun. But also, there's a lot of time when you may not be playing those. So we appreciate if you spend some of that time with us. Your time is very precious, and we very much appreciate that you continue to listen and support the show, and that you continue to push us to even greater heights. Give a shout out to Tracky and to Yield. For recording tonight, and also CoolKidJoe for coming on and being a tremendous host and basically shaming all the rest of us with his platinum count.
Yeah, I do stuff.
All right, Joe. Before
hold
you
on,
do
hold on. Don't get me
Yeah, he's not done
in the
yet.
doghouse.
I don't want. Yeah, don't get thrown out of the house.
I want to give a shout out to my loving girlfriend Ashley, who is knee deep in some Animal Crossing. I guess I should say eyeballs deep in Animal Crossing. I'm really glad that she's playing it and loving it, because it's been a little bit hard for her to get into a game and stick with it. But it seems like Animal Crossing is that game. So I love you, honey, and I'm glad that you found that new game that you love to play.
All right, Joe. Before you do your shout-outs, tell everybody how they can find you on the internets.
Okay, so on Twitter, I am at CoolKidJoe, XBL. The XBL is there because someone took the at CoolKidJoe Twitter handle and wasted it by tweeting a total 6 times. And you can also find me on CJ's show, Push to Plat Level Cap. That's at push2plat. We do a weekly podcast. Usually every Friday we release an episode where we talk about really easy trophy games and fun ones that we would recommend.
What's next on the hit list for trophies, for platinum trophies?
Oh, right now I have no idea. It's just whatever comes out.
Okay, I didn't know if you had a game in mind that you were targeting next. Like, I didn't know if you had a lineup of games you were going to tackle in order.
No, I don't. I just kind of come home and I have a folder that says easy trophies or whatever, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll do that one today. And then I kind of decide, what I did when I hit 250, I did it with Hellblade. So I think for 300, I'm gonna pick another game that I enjoy.
Hellblade is a very good game.
Yes.
All right, Joe. Do you have any shout-outs?
Shout out to my man CJ. Who I believe put you guys in contact with me to get me on here.
Yes.
He's a cool dude from Australia.
I don't know if I used the word cool for him.
Yeah, I mean he's helping
overly
me
annoying does come around a lot.
Hey, I like the Australians and the funny choices of words that they use, like Tracky Dacks for sweatpants.
I love when CJ comes on and brings his own special lingo to the show, just to kind of like things that we would say but translated into Australian slang. I love that.
Oh, I've been trying to get so more words out of him, and he just doesn't provide them to me. And I think it's because me and my buddy Chad, that I talk to him every day on Xbox. We are always looking for new types of foreign words to incorporate into our basic vocabulary.
I think with CJ, you
we
don't
don't
force him to do anything. You just got to catch him off the cuff. He'll just get onto a
Yeah.
rant, and you'll find a few gems in there.
Yeah, we don't call sweatpants anymore. We call them Tracky Dacks now.
Tracky Dacks.
Yes.
Guys, can you go get my Tracky Dacks?
It's almost like we need to do a segment on this show, CJ's Slang of the Week.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, the problem is he probably
All
doesn't
right,
even
Joe,
know it's slang because he's so used to it.
Joe, you have any more shout-outs?
No, I got 2 friends, so that's about it.
Well, I got good news for you. You have 3 new friends now.
Nice.
Yield your shout out, sir.
So I'll give a shout out to CoolKidJoe for coming on and recording with us tonight. Give a shout out to Tracky and Alex for showing up, braving the pandemic that will kill us all, and recording with us tonight. A shout out to Homer Get Stuff, Prepare to Die or Scum, Harry Balls on You for, again, braving the pandemic and hanging out and playing video games all day yesterday.
Homer is beating you now 5-3 in the platinum race.
I'm not worried.
You got plenty of time now to earn some trophy shield.
I've got plenty of time. A shout out to Modos Gaming because I finished Jedi Fallen Order. I'm like, I'm gonna start a new game. I picked up Extinction a while ago, so I opened it up, went to put in my Deluxe Edition Season Pass, and the code wouldn't work. So I tweeted at them, and they're going to hook me up with a new code. So shout out to them.
Speaking of codes.
Yeah, codes.
The
Konami code's the best code.
The PlayStation Celebration code, week 3. Did your code work?
Yes, I didn't get week 1, though.
I got week 1 and 2, and when I tried to do 3, it says my code's already been redeemed.
See, I didn't get 1, but got 2 and 3. Which I'm a little bit bummed. I would have rather have gotten 1. But anyway.
Well, you check your messages because 1 didn't say week 1. I did notice that.
I didn't. My 2 and 3 came specifically from Sony. I didn't get a 1. Anyway, Tracky derailed me. I think that's it. If not, I'll hook you up next week.
Unless you post in the Platinum Guild, because they'll never give you that one.
That's right.
We'll give a shout out to the listeners. Shout out to Joe. Thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. You got 3 new friends. I hope you come back. Shout out to Sweet Mama D. Shout out to the Goddess. And if there's nothing else, until next week, happy trophy hunting.
Bye.
Later.
Later.
Save your last words, then riddle me this. Save your last words. Save your last words, then riddle me this. Save your last words, then riddle me this. Save your last words, then riddle me this. Save your last words, then riddle me this.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.